Hello and welcome everyone. In this video, we are getting our hands on installing GNS3 on a Windows computer. We will be installing GNS3 in a client-server setup so that every device in GNS3 client will actually be running inside the server, sandboxed inside the VMware workstation. In later videos we will learn how to add various devices, configure it properly in order to start creating a network topology. For now, let's start by configuring network in VMware workstation. Open VMware and go to Virtual Network Editor. Click Change Settings. As we can see, there are no virtual networks created. We will go ahead and create the networks. Add 2 virtual networks. Bridge VM Net0 adapter with the physical adapter on your machine, via which you are using the internet. The reason behind bridging VM Net0 adapter with the wireless adapter on Windows machine is to later access the internet from GNS3 topology. Now let's go ahead and create another network VM Net1. We will be configuring this virtual network to facilitate the communication between GNS3 client and server. Please make sure to uncheck the DHCP service as it may create IP address conflict later. Now let's go ahead and configure VM Net1 interface in Windows machine. This network interface will be bound to the GNS3 client and the local GNS3 server. Now we will install GNS3. In this demonstration, we are using GNS3 version 2.2.7. Later, while deploying the GNS3 VM, make sure you check GNS3 VM version, as it needs to be the same version as the GNS3 client that we are installing now. After completing the installation, start GNS3. Go to Edit, then click Preferences. Click Server and select the IP address previously configured in VM Net1 adapter. This IP address will be bound to the GNS3 client and the local server. As you can see, you are getting some errors. You can ignore them for now. Now, go to GNS3 VM configuration and check the box to enable GNS3 VM. Make sure to select the VMware workstation in Workstation Engine option and select GNS3 VM in VM name. As we do not have any VMware VMs installed, the list is empty. Thus, now we will be installing GNS3 VM by deploying the .ova file. We have successfully deployed the GNS3 VM. Now let's go to the virtual machine configuration and change some of its parameters. Add 2 network adapters, VM Net1 and VM Net0 as shown. Go back to GNS3 and refresh the VM name option. Now, you should see GNS3 VM listed. You can change RAM and vCPU as per your requirement. In order to communicate with the GNS3 client, the GNS3 VM server should be configured with the IP address. Now, let's boot the VM up and configure the IP address. You should see this screen after the VM has finished booting. Press Enter to select OK and select Network. Edit the network configuration file as shown. After finishing the configuration, press Ctrl-O to save. And Ctrl-X to exit and restart. Now we can see, we have successfully configured network in GNS3 Server VM. Let's go ahead and test it from the Windows machine. In order to test the connectivity between GNS3 client and the server, let's initiate an ICMP echo request from CMD. If everything is working fine, we should see the reply. We can see, we are getting the reply. Now save the configuration and exit GNS3 and VMware workstation. Next time you start GNS3, everything should be working fine. Now, let's start GNS3. Create a new project. The GNS3 VM should boot up automatically, and client-server connection should be successful. You can verify the server status in Server's Summary. Lastly, I'd like to give you an insight on how the virtual network topology we created in this video looks like. Please have a look. Don't hesitate to comment below if you have any questions, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.